Okay, so Saturday night, it's also the lunar observance night tonight, but we're going through a bit of a COVID-related difficulty. So we're, generally I think you've cancelled all the pujas. We've had a few cases of COVID in the monastery, and it was a gift that I brought back from my travels. And so it's actually we've been, since the pandemic began, we've been extremely fortunate in that we haven't had any cases in the monastery. We've had people who've come from elsewhere. Of course, that's what's happened this time. I came from elsewhere, and then there's a few of the monks have now contracted it as well. So I was away on travels for about a month in New Zealand and Australia. And I didn't know I had got it until I got back here, and I guess the second day tested. Somebody else tested first, and who had been in the car with me the day before. So anyway, we're dealing with it, and that's the reality of aging, sickness, and death, and these human bodies are subject to illness. So that to think that because we live in a monastery or because we're monastics and we're not going to get ill is that's a absurdity. As long as we have a human body, then there is this possibility of illness, and whether it's whatever. I mean, the number of illnesses that are possible are innumerable. So, and as I've mentioned it before, in Dhamma talks, and remembering one time when I was sick and in the hospital, and I'd been hospitalized for some time, and it was a strange, wonderful, weird tropical illness that I was actually the first monk to get it at Wat Nanachat, and something called scrub typhus. But anyway, I went to once I started to get better, I went to the hospital library to research it and get a bit more understanding about the nature of it and how it came to be and how it could be treated and what we could do at the monastery. And but anyway, going into and this is like a provincial hospital, which is not that well supported, right? And or well funded. But anyway, I just had this. It's much larger than it was. Probably a few of these rooms, and full of stacks and stacks of books. And then you realize that all of those books are about all the different diseases that are possible in the human body, and that and then there are libraries and libraries of in really big medical institutions detailing all of the things that can go wrong with the human body, and so to somehow think that one is not ever going to get sick, or that just because one is in a monastery that one has some special force field around one. That's just not. That's a folly. Just being able to acknowledge and accept that reality is actually takes away a lot of the dukkha of that reality of dukkha. Because something that I'm finding with this particular illness is just I'm tired, and I don't like being tired. I like having energy. But it doesn't really matter what I like or dislike. It is what it is. So, yes, but realizing that just having to learn how to adapt to the realities of the energy of the system. And because so often that's the case with anything. What we always tend to do is take it personally. It's like not having energy is because of being ill. It's a personal affront to my sense of fairness, which is, of course, is stupid, and of course, then seeing things in accordance with Dhamma is recognizing it's like this. When there's energy, there's like this. When there's not energy, it's like this. When there's well-being, it's like this. When there's not well-being, it's like this. It's just is the way it is, and it's just this. The truth of this Dhamma is so simple and straightforward. The problem is we keep missing it. And that, so it's just so important to keep reminding ourselves of the fundamental truths of the Buddha's teachings, because it's easy to miss, and that and there's a certain willful commitment to missing the truth which is because we like to sort of complain about it, so we'll just overlook the truth and then just try to keep doddering on in our fantasy. So this being committed to the taking the refuges and keeping the practice of mindfulness and awareness really, really clear in the heart is it's something that's very straightforward, but it's also something that we have to keep remembering to do. It's like that practice of mindfulness is not so much some special focus of attention, but it's just the ability to not forget, not miss out on this opportunity of being clear, being present, being alert, being awake, and that's actually always accessible to us. That's the beauty of the Dhamma, is that it is apparent here and now. We chant it every time we chant the qualities of the Dhamma. It's one of the qualities is it is apparent here and now, and we chant it and forget it. So just this reminding ourselves of the simple directness of the Buddha's teaching is so important, because that's, and similarly when you reflecting on the purpose of the Buddha's teachings, when the Buddha was very explicit in his very first sermon of why he was teaching. And it's for freeing the heart from suffering, and sort of that it's not for gaining some special ability or having some kind of superhuman knowledge of some sort or other. Just freeing the heart from suffering, and being willing to pay attention to what is there suffering. And I remember one time being with Ajahn Chah, and it was, it felt like I was going through this really complicated and difficult time facing a real difficult problem and situation, and sort of confiding with him in that, and he just looked at me with this just look of openness and compassion, and said, "Is there suffering?" And I was just sort of, and everything fell away, because rather than, because then it became this very direct, experiential. where is the suffering in this? How am I creating it? How am I holding to it? How am I making it existent? And of course, that's always through an act of delusion, or through the misguided desires, misapplied attention, and that's how we suffer. It's not that we're ever going to live in a perfect world. The Buddha didn't come into the world to make the world perfect. The Buddha came into the world to give us the tools so that we don't suffer, and that's that's just the most astounding gift, and capacity that we have the opportunity to experience, because we can, there's no shortage of intelligence or capability and skills in the world. There's an endless supply of highly intelligent, capable people running the world, whether it's social, political, economic, whatever, familial, it's all sorts. But there's hardly anybody committed to not suffering, and that's what the Buddha saw as the opportunity to really free the heart, is through seeing clearly in a very different way, and understanding the nature of desire, of the nature of attachment, of the nature of delusion, how entangled we create the world into the mess that is created through. It's only two things, but it's because of two things we wander and suffer through samsara, and that is ignorance and delusion. They're kind of forces that support each other, and because they do support each other, then it gets hopelessly entangled. So that desire and delusion working together in the heart, and of course there's all sorts of things that we can be doing, but most of all, what needs to be done is that it needs to be seen and understood. That, this is the problem, and it can be relinquished. It can be let go of. I mean, that's the beauty of the say the Buddha's guidance, is that he's pointing to, again, something very simple and straightforward, a relinquishing, a releasing, a letting go, a putting down of the burden of this impulse of deluded attachment and misguided desire, that self-orienting desire that it creates problems. So for us as human beings, and to keep returning to the basics, to the fundamentals, because it's yes, there's the scriptures, of course, are very extensive. The commentaries are even more extensive. The sub-commentaries are even more extensive. There's all sorts of books and treatises and texts that explain all the teachings. But in the end, it all comes back to something very, very fundamental and basic. And just this clear knowing that's willing to not hold on, to not cling, to not and to say not cling or not attach is not to say that that's a dismissive and act of non-engagement, but it's engaging with real wisdom and compassion. That's what is really required. And that's when the Buddha himself was asked to give a comprehensive, succinct teaching. One time the request was from Mahamoggallana. Another time it was actually from Sakka, ruler of the gods. But the Buddha gave his succinct teaching that encompassed the whole breadth of his teaching as something very simple. Sabbe Dhamma Nalam Abhinivesaya. And that could be translated in a variety of ways, but one translation that I like is nothing whatsoever should be clung to, or should be held on to. Because it's that act of, again, that lack of clear knowledge, not clear seeing, and that we act out of desire and attachment, we act out of delusion and complication. And so that, nothing should be clung to. Everything has to be relinquished. Everything has to be held loosely. It has to be held with a sense of recognition of the consequences of our delusion. So to be reflecting in this way is coming to the heart of the teachings, and that's important because, as it says, there's always going to be times when there's difficulty or sickness or circumstances are not the most ideal. And how do you hold your practice when that's the that's the case. How do you hold the practice when conditions aren't ideal? How do you hold the practice when you're tired and you're sick? And that's this trusting in awareness and trusting in letting go, and that brings you straight to the Dhamma. So I'll offer that for reflection this evening. I've been speaking from a cloud of kind of tiredness and just getting over an illness.